Hello everybody, Pikachu here. Welcome back to Bendy and the Dark Revival. This is most likely the last video I will be making on this game because in the last video, obviously, I beat the game and now we're gonna take a quick little look through the archives. Alright. Oh, I have to be standing back here. Okay, welcome to the archives. Bendy and the Dark Revival is filled with numerous characters that each had a critical role to play in the progression of the game. Here in the archives, you will learn a little bit more about them in an up close and personal way. Feel free to explore. Wilson cartoon. Wilson was a difficult character to balance. At first, the players were purposely led to believe that he is a one-note character, obviously evil with an over-the-top villain personality, but as the story progresses, we see other sides of the character and the player becomes muddled with who this man really is. In one draft, Wilson was written as a servant of Nathan Arch Jr., a separate character at the time. But the story made far more sense when the two characters became one, eliminating a lot of needless narrative complexity. Cartoon Audrey. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue with courage, determination, some flaws, and a deep, dark past. To make our story work, we needed a newcomer to the cartoon studio world, and Audrey was a perfect fresh eyes to help with the experience, the adventure, to help what the fucking typo. From day one of production, we knew that if people didn't connect with Audrey by the end of the game itself wouldn't be successful. Fortunately, she turned out to be quite memorable indeed, and stands out from the other members of the cast. The Ink Machine. Hold on, I wanna. The Ink. Hold on, fucking. The Ink Machine, designed by Thomas Connor of the Gent Corporation. So Boris made this. Stolen by Joey Drew, retrieved by Archgate, and once again reclaimed by Gent. The Ink Machine's next adventure is a mystery. Isn't that Bendy the Cage? Okay. The Ink Demon. Hold on, let me. As the world of Dark Revival became more complex and established, we realized the Ink Demon's design needed a complete rethink to match our new tone. Previous versions of his appearance looked absolutely silly when placed in the world alongside the other characters. No amount of creepy music or screen effects could conceal how out of place he looked. The Ink Demon needed to look different than everything else in the world and show a natural progression of the Ink Demon's evolution as Wilson held the cycle in place. Betty! A faithful maid, among other things, to Wilson. Betty was an important character to the story of Dark Revival. As a failed experiment and someone relatively new to the cartoon studio, she was able to give a somewhat different point of view on the state of the world. We had purposefully left it unclear if Betty was in on Wilson's plot to harvest Audrey, or if she is just a bystander. Behind her mask, there are still answers to be found. Is there another thing over here? Posters? Oh, I can't even sprint here. Oh, Nathan Arch Sr. Nathan Arch was everything Joey Drew wasn't. He worked hard, built up from nothing, and never compromised his integrity. Joey had big dreams, but Nathan accomplished his own dreams. He and his wife Tessa raised a son with. Oh, that's Wilson. Okay. Raised a son with as much love and care as they could, despite Nathan's career pressures. Sadly, his son did not share Nathan's natural talent for business and enterprise. You know, one of my substitute teachers is an entrepreneur. She owns like 4 restaurants. I don't know why I wanted to mention that, but Audrey, the annoying daughter of an animation pioneer. Audrey has blocked out the memory of her past after losing her father, but his role in her life was not over. A talented animator and artist. Her skills landed her a job at Archgate. Was it fate that led her to reunite with Joey Drew's machine? The machine of her birth? Was it planned? Is there a little... No? Okay. Wilson. Haunted by the impossible shadow of Nathan Arch, Wilson sought to achieve something that would make his father proud. By luck, he stumbled upon the ink machine and was able to become the cartoon world's new master, holding the cycle in place. He continued his experiments. Experiments that could not fully be realized until the ink demon was purged. However, unnaturally entering to and from the ink realm has taken a toll on Wilson's physical being, slowly robbing him of his health. So he was able to. So what I'm hearing is he was able to just willingly just go back and forth. Okay, there was another thing over here I saw. Cycle breakers. Henry Stein, the original cycle breaker. Henry Stein is the ghost of a man who lost his purpose years ago. Once fueled with finding a way to escape the tortures of the ink demon and finding his way home to his wife, Henry is now left with the cold reality of being a recreation of the person he thought he was. Saved as a special surprise for fans of the Bendy and the Ink Machine game, Henry was strictly omitted from all public discussion of the character during the entire production, which spanned several years. But Henry returned with a very satisfying face reveal. Jesus Christ, my brain. Allison. Returning from another victory over the ink demon, Allison is always the voice of reason, a beacon of hope. Allison's design was very carefully upgraded from the previous Bendy and the Ink Machine game to maintain her personality, but with more fidelity. The purpose of meeting Allison so early in the campaign was to introduce the player to a familiar face after the main introduction. At the start, Allison was able to serve as the motivating force for Audrey until the true plot kicked in later. Tom! Oh, look at that robo-arm. That's so cool. Okay. Tom. Tom is Allison's silent protector and the only Boris clone involved in the main story. Where is Boris the Wolf? Rumor has it that during the events of this game, Boris is experiencing a dark survival story of his own. So that's like the Boris in the dark survival. Which would be the literal reason as to why the game is called Boris and the Dark Survival. But still, cool nonetheless. Okay, let's start over here. Alright, Heidi. It is believed that Heidi has spent some time in the pit, a prison set up by Wilson and the Keepers. It is unclear why, but most likely she was able to access places she shouldn't have. The experience in the pit changed her, as it does many, reverting her into a childlike state, longing for happiness again. Yeah, the pit fucking sucked. Porter. As the cycle was held in place, and with the influence of the ink demon held at bay, the cartoon world was able to grow and advance, creating such characters as Porter. A lost one who came to claim a new identity as an explorer, Porter was written with the knowledge that Dark Revival would feature a far more serious tone than the first game of Bendy and the Ink Machine, and his light-hearted innocence would help the player feel some warmth in this inky world of sorrow. I know, I loved Porter. Oh, shit. Oh, it's a keeper. The Keepers. God, look at you. You're so fucking creepy. Okay. The Keepers. Wilson's deadly guards and scientists. They aren't perfect, but the Keepers will get the job done, no matter the cost. They're responsible for pressing the ink demon inside a smaller form, keeping his power sealed away until Audrey came along and unknowingly changed the situation. The Keepers were visually designed to reflect the dangers and evils of the ink machine itself. Faceless beings made of gears and wires with no sense of morality, ordered around like cattle, a creation living without purpose. The Butcher Gang. Barley, Charlie, and Edgar. The fucking hated that bitch. Okay. The three original members of the Butcher Gang were formed from the ink machine, deconstructed by Alice for body parts, and bond together to stay alive with sneak attacks on their prey. In Dark Revival, we meet an artificial fourth member of the gang, Carly. Carly, the ghost girl. Although when you begin to examine her closely, Carly appears to only be a shell with perhaps someone inside. Can I crouch? Do you guys follow me? Oh god. I don't like that. Freaky bitch. Okay. Alright. Hell yeah. What is that? Alright, Sammy Lawrence, the famous music composer of the studio. Sammy Lawrence originally had a slightly larger role in the story of Dark Revival, but in a story already filled with so many characters, making them all play a meaningful part became a challenge. He was ultimately sidelined in favor for telling a more coherent storyline, although it is interesting to note that Sammy Lawrence appears to have mastered the flow ability in Bendy and the Ink Machine, long before Porter and Audrey could wield it. Oh, fuck. Oh, there's another area. Amok. Lord Amok. Ruler of the sewer cult. Lord Amok illustrates how the world of the Ink had continued to develop into different societies, deep within the darkest places. Although he was weak in a fight, his name will simply never die. Alice! Alice Angel. The self-appointed queen of the studio, Alice Angel is one of the most memorable faces in the Bendy world. Forever lost in a tide of insanity, she is an absolute delight to write for as a character. An angel with many layers, time will only tell if this inky temptress will ever reappear. Ship Ahoy Dudley. Ship Ahoy Dudley. The demented invention of Wilson, created to serve the dual purpose of dethroning the ink demon in the cartoon world, and also upstaging Joey Drew in the eyes of Wilson's father, Nathan Arch. Oh, excuse me. Neither of these happened. Ship Ahoy Dudley is a mysterious sailor with his own eerie grin, similar to that of Bendy. Along with his sidekick, Crackle the Crab. It is unknown just what kind of cartoon adventures they would have had together. Oh, so that's the crab. Okay, cool. Oh, Jesus. King Widow. Ink widows have begun to infest where the light grows darkest. Their king, the biggest and most feared, will only emerge from his nest when its young are threatened. And what's your name? Oh, Lurker. Okay, Lurker. The Lurker, or Steve, as he became to be known. Hi, Steve. Was originally created as a brute-type enemy that would free roam the way lost ones do, but ultimately felt unnecessary as the random ink demon encounters already fulfilled the role of putting in the player on edge while exploring previous traversed locations. In the end, the Lurker found a much better calling as an unlikely ally, effectively expanding him into more than just a typical enemy. Alright, is that everything here? That's only, like, I don't know, 15 minutes. Can I go back here? Ink. Welcome. I feel like that is everything. So, huh? Oh, you just have to, do you have to just stand in a certain spot? Weird. Okay. I think that's it though. I do want to get. I do want to get this as the thumbnail. Fuck. No, I had it. Nice. Oh shit. Okay. Bendy, the iconic imp, was redesigned for Dark Revival to stand out a bit from his traditional cartoon appearance by giving him a suit of clothes. He posed some minor challenges, specifically creating a face that's. Fuck. What? That. Oh, specifically creating a face that sported the classic Bendy, eerie smile, but still managed to be heartwarming in the right conditions. He is a fan favorite, so his design had to be just right. During production, we originally envisioned Bendy to talk with a series of cute squeaks to contrast the dark, low voice of the Ink Demon. But this turned out to be very distracting, and the idea was scrapped pretty early on. Okay, I got a little distracted while reading this because I thought this little spot right here was like a staircase down. I coulda left without even reading this. Oh my god, that's awesome though. All right, well, that is the archives. I'm pretty sure this is my final video on Bendy and the Dark Revival. But if you guys like the video, like it. If you dislike it, drop a subscription. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.